So how to select the right marketing channels, our Marketing 101 series, a series of learning how to understand and learn about your marketing channels. I'm Laura Dunkley, fractional CMO and consultant at Acorn Studio Marketing. Spent many years as an entrepreneur and supporting entrepreneurs, helping them build their brand and build their business. You can reach out to me at laura@acornstudio.marketing or connect with me on LinkedIn at Laura L. Dunkley. Today's session, this is it. We're going to give you the link to download what marketing channels, what they are, what's the difference between marketing and sales, different types of channels. We're going to go through a checklist of how you can figure out what the right channels are for your business. And we're going to review various channels and types of marketing mix and discuss where and how they would fit. And then at the very end too, we will go over the template that you will see here, and include as part of that is the Garden Grows demo company that you have seen so frequently. There's a link to download the template, and we'll go through it in more details afterwards, but it's on Google Drive. It's a Google Doc, totally editable. You just have to make a copy for yourself, and then it's all yours. At the end of it, you will see this example. It is part of the Garden Grow sample company, and it goes into quite details. And so even as I was developing the sample company, I started to edit it a little bit and went, oh, this would work better for this company. So do know that it is fully editable. Make it work for your business, but the template is a start. So let's get started. What are marketing channels? Marketing channels are methods and pathways used to communicate and promote a company's products or services to their target audience. Other terms that you're going to see quite often, and it can be confusing if you don't know what they are, but marketing channels is that, the channel. Marketing tactics is what we talk about, how we're going to actually use those channels. Marketing materials, they're what you need to carry the message, that information to your target audience, usually in the form of content. So to give you a bit of a comparison, it is somewhat like a waterway, right? A channel. And we hear that quite often. The Welland Canal, which is, I think, a picture of this, some of you know, in Ontario, and it is the waterway. So the channel is the waterway. And if you think of the tactic, it's the boat, right? It's going to take the information across, and the information, the materials, are the cargo. Now, depending on what you need to do in your business, obviously you're going to use different channels, different waterways. You're going to use different sizes of boats, and you're going to have different cargo. It could be a little recreational vehicle. It could be a whole place that's developed and it's a priority, and you use certain channels. So just make sure you understand that terminology, because it can be murky at times going back and forth. So that is just a quick one. So let's putting it all together. That's where the marketing channel strategy comes up. And you'll often see it called a marketing mix or a channel strategy. And what that is going to encompass is what the channels you're going to use for your business, how you're going to use them, and the types of materials you're going to create, right? It's the channel, it's the tactics, and then it is the materials at the end. And putting it all together is your strategy. Now, what often happens is marketing and sales, that terminology goes back and forth. Is it a marketing channel? Is it a sales channel? And it's even professionals and people in this world all the time often use it interchangeably, but it is quite different, even though quite often it overlaps. But what is different are three key things. One is objectives. Marketing channels, our objective is to reach potential customers and influence their perception and understanding of that product or brand. That's typically what we do. Now, we work with sales quite closely, which is why it can be a challenge and why these things are interchangeable. Sales channels, however, they focus on converting the interest that marketing has started to generate into the actual purchase. So that's one key difference. The other thing is the activities that are involved. So marketing, typically our activities are things like advertising, promotion. We do market research, all of those things to reach and engage our potential customers. Sales activities, they're going to see things more like negotiation, deal closures. They're going to use some of those materials, but the activities that they go are going to be a little different. So for instance, a trade show. Their sales guy's going to go, person's going to go, and they're going to start to talk in the channels, and maybe they're going to go do different things. Marketing is going to support them. Maybe they're going to promote that they're going to be at the event. They're going to give them some materials. So it works together, but definitely the objectives and the activities involved are different. And then we get into how they interact with the customer. So marketing channels, we often, when we're working with them, we focus on facilitating a sort of broad one-to-many interaction, and it's communication and engagement. It's very much outward. It's not one-to-one, it's broad communication. Sales channels typically involve that direct, right? Like direct selling or one-to-one interactions or calling them up. Whereas, so marketing channels will be going out. We're going to bring eyes into the website. Maybe we hit into the form, and then the salesperson's going to go, okay, now we're going to actually call that person and we're going to close that deal. So we work very closely together, but we typically will use some overlapping channels, but we have different objectives, we have different goals, we have different activities. So that's the key difference between the two. And just keep that in mind, even if you're a solopreneur and you're doing both, when you go to do your marketing strategy, make sure you're doing your sales strategy at the same time, but keep them separate on how you're going to be using them. So this is the 7 steps that I had mentioned previously. The webinar recordings are all there at the QR code, and it just shows you that the 7 steps, typically, I always say that if you do these 7 steps, you will be successful in your marketing. And it's simple, but it's not easy. So do follow through, make sure you have your business plan, make sure you know your target audience, make sure you have clear goals, and then it's time to develop your channels. So do understand how that all fits in. And there's 3 types of channels when it comes to marketing. There's owned, paid, and earned. Owned are those channels that our brand, we control. They're things like the website, it's a flyer that you've created, it's a sign in your store. You own that. You have full capabilities to create it and use it how you want. Paid is where we supplement, right? You pay to play, as they say, but it's built on top of owned. So it's leveraging those channels. We're supplementing it with payment, but we're already on Facebook or we're on LinkedIn or we're using our website, and or Google Ads will supplement and bring it in. We will have social media will pay. Maybe you could boost a post, but it's all built on a foundation of organic, which is our owned content. So just remember, owned channels, we have full control. Paid is a supplement that we leverage these channels to get extra eyes outside of our network. Earned is that sweet spot. That's the PR, that's the media, that's where we've done amazing stuff and we've let the world know, and now they're going, oh, you have to talk to that brand. It's a testimonial, it's a Google review, because people trust what other people are saying more than they trust the brand. And that you can't pay to get that. You don't own it. You have to earn it. And it takes time and it takes discipline. You have to provide opportunities, but man, when you get it, it's wonderful. So those are the 3 key marketing channels. And then what we do is we want to put them all together. Now, this is a lot, and I don't recommend this, doing all of these things, unless you have a giant team and it's huge and you have various departments and all of that great stuff. But it is a sample that you can start to pull from. It's not all of them, but it's a good sampling. And the whole idea, how this visual is that the website, it's in the center. It is the hub of everything. So everyone needs a website. There's very few that I would say doesn't need a website. And it is the central place. It is one place where people can remember that they can go and find everything about who you are, what you sell, and how to get in touch with you. That's why we put our social media links. That's why we put all of those other things. It's like, hey, you've got a podcast, or I can sign up for your email marketing. So make sure that that is fully branded, always up to date, and it has all your other channel links on there as it pertains to it. Now, print doesn't make sense, but for all your digital. So it is the hub of everything. And then we get into social. Pick the right channels. You want the right mix for that. A blog kind of sits on your website, but not always. When you talk about LinkedIn, LinkedIn is there, but you can do blogging on LinkedIn as well. But blogging is a content strategy, but it's also a channel. So you always have to think content and channel at the same time. You've got paid, you've got podcasts, you've got WhatsApp, like messaging, or special niche apps. Email marketing, still one of the most popular chatbot that's on your website, but it's also an extra feature. It's an extra channel. We've got things that are more traditional, like print media, signage at your store, flyers, media strategy is a whole nother focus. Directories will be things like your Google business profile listing. It's also niche directories that you want to think about. Events, if you use Eventbrite, or like, which is a trade name, but if you use an event platform or you reach people through doing webinars, that's actually a channel. It's sales, but it's still marketing, right? Like, it's how are we going to use that? And then we have influencers. And of course, YouTube is considered social, but it also is a bit of a different platform. So don't forget that channel as well. So that's just a sample. And when you start to go, okay, so what's right for my business? Pull from there. And then we have to jump in and go, well, how do we know? That's a lot. That's a lot to choose from. So there is a critical checklist, and this is what I go through. So how do we select the right channels? One, does it align with your sales strategy? Top funnel, because sales and marketing, they got to work together, as we mentioned, which also has to roll up to your business plan, right? Do you have the resources? Do you have the time, the money, and the skills to start this channel? It's not just starting it. Can you manage it moving forward? Is your audience there? I mean, I know that seems obvious, but if your audience is there, that's where you should be. Even if you're not comfortable with the platform, then you have to go, ooh, well, maybe I should hire someone. And then you have to actually go up to resources again. So it's not just look at one of these lists, you have to look at them all together. Is it adaptable and scalable? Is it going to adapt to economy changes, to trends? Is it going to scale with my business? Do you have a content strategy? Channel's not much good if you don't have content to put on it to actually get it forward. As we mentioned about the boat, right? Great having a boat, but if there's no cargo to go along with that boat's just going on a trip. So make sure you do consider your content strategy at the same time as you're developing your channel strategy. Are there legal or regulations you need to consider? Is there privacy? Is there an industry specific regulation that you can or can't do using a certain channel? What's your technology strategy? Your tech stack. What do you have that's existing? What will complement that? Are you adding more on? If you're just starting, then you get a great chance to bring it all together, but there's a lot of considerations, and where is that going to go? Do you have the infrastructure to be able to support this? And at the very end, what is your effort impact? I find that is my overreaching question. How much effort do I have to put in to get the results I want? Because marketing has to help your business. If it's not helping you grow, brand marketing takes a long time. Don't get me wrong. It does take time to do it, and it's ongoing. And even when your sales are going great, you still got to keep the marketing engine going. But how much effort do I have to go to get the results I want? And that goes right back to your sales strategy and your business plan. So make sure you think through each level of the questions here, and then you can start to select your channels. So for example, Garden Grows, this is a sample mix. Remember, Garden Grows is our garden center that developed into a landscape design services. And as you grow your business, you have to sometimes think about extras. So we went, okay, we have these channels for the garden center, but now what are we going to use for the design services? And that's where we went, okay, We're going to use these channels. This makes sense. Instagram is very visual. Makes sense for a garden company. Influencers, there's a lot of gardening landscape people we could use. Events, for sure. Let's do gardening how-tos or go walk through gardens. Paid for sure. That's you've got use Instagram there, so you're probably going to pay for it. Media potential, you're just launching this. It might be a strategy that I'm using now. Doesn't mean I'm going to use it forever, but in this case, we're going to use it. Email marketing, blogging for sure, education, and video. Everyone likes videos, almost everyone does. So we're going to put that in as well. And when you're mapping this out too, you can visually make something bigger if it's going to be more prominent and something smaller that's secondary, because not everything will have the same weight and strategy. So our template and sample, let's have a look. This is it. So when you go to your template, it's there, make a copy, it's all yours. For example, social media is a category, right? We had all of those different channels. You have to think holistically for social media. I would put in that top section your whole strategy about social. Like, why are you going to use it? Is it going to sell product? Do you want to use it to build awareness? Just put some general notes around it. If it's supplementing your other one, which is what we'll have in Garden Grows, you'll see that. You might want to make some notes on how you're leveraging your partner programs or your previous businesses as well. And then go into each channel. And then Facebook. How are we going to use Facebook? How are we going to use Instagram? How are we going to use Pinterest? And then start to prioritize it. Putting it all together just gives you a holistic approach when you can go, oh, wow, that's too much. I can't do this, or we need more. So this is where the worksheet comes in handy. Website, core pages, landing pages, blogs, all of that are part of your website. So you can break it down from there. Directories, there's different directories, list them all under there. What type of digital ads are you going to go? List them under there. Influencers, internal and external. Remember that brand ambassadors internally are to be considered to be influencers. Quite often, if you have a team, external would be influencers that you would pay to do your work, or else partners that are external in the community. And this goes back to your key stakeholders, right, from the target audience work we did. And as I mentioned, it's all part of the digital marketing plan. And this is where I would say make sure you don't take this out of context from all the other work that you're doing. Make sure it's part of that plan so that you can see who your audience is. What are your business goals? What are you trying to achieve? What are those risks and assumptions? What are those resources and budgets? So please do make sure that when you do this, that it's in context. And that's what we did for Garden Grows. So in the digital marketing plan, we see the full plan for Garden Grows, so you'll understand that context. But for just this worksheet, if you want to look at it, we did break down all the different social media. We broke down LinkedIn, Pinterest. We talked about the website, landing pages, blogs. And then we even got into, this is where I started to customize it, because there's a key campaign that I'll give you a link. We did a session on content planning, and we used Garden Grows. So it's like, okay, so a key resource, a campaign is, we're going to use this gardening magazine that we're going to create, and it's going to be a key part of the campaign. So I need to capture it here because it needs to make sense within my whole strategy. SEO, directories, digital ads, there's links out. This is just a place to start to brainstorm and be that guide for you as you start to build your content and you start to promote your business. And these are the ones I was mentioning. The marketing campaign template bundle. If you go on the website, you'll actually see that as well. And it puts everything together on this campaign, and you'll understand where Garden Grows is in that magazine piece. So if you're building out a campaign, my caution to anyone who just wants to go run ahead and do any type of campaign and you haven't done a strategy, it's it can work, but it's not going to be strategic, or you're not going to know if it's strategic. So please do a strategy first, at least a rough draft, and get started. And then you can move forward in the campaign piece, which could be more sales focused and driven. So it all just has to roll up and make sense as far as your business strategy goes. How to create a content marketing plan is also there. On the website too. So there's the two, and that's on our YouTube channel. So you can just follow those QR codes. And that is it. Now it's time to get started. Your marketing channel strategy.